Welcome to the Word on the Street podcast. It is live. It is May 15th, the year 2000 and Chael, still going strong on that. It's another episode here bringing you the latest in MMA, news, rumors, topics, shit that nobody else wants to touch. I'm here with my co-host, Jake from the MMA podcast. How you doing, Jake?
Very good, very good. How are you doing, man?
I'm all right, man. Just getting over a little bug here. I'll get into that. But we also have our esteemed co-host, the living legend himself, Coach Jamie Huey. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Pretty damn good, I guess. Like I said, I'm doing better and better every day here. And we have a special guest here on the Word on the Street podcast. He is coaching at Yuma United in Arizona. You might, actually, we'll let him explain who he is, but I'll tell you right now, he's coached some fine specimens in the MMA fighting world, including tough champions, Efrain Escudero, and our friend, Kelvin Gastelum himself, the recent winner of the Ultimate Fighter Sonnen versus Jones season. Terrell, how you doing? Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty good.
Great.
Here remodeling in the gym.
Nice. So you are in Yuma, Arizona right now, currently at the. It's called Yuma United, your gym, correct?
Correct. I'm currently in the Yuma United gym.
Excellent. Oh, I wanted to ask. Now I know that Kelvin Gastelum trains up there at Yuma United, but I also know that he also trains at I guess it's like a 10th Planet gym. When Eddie Bravo is branded.
That is our gym.
Exactly. I was going to ask you. Can you explain how that works? Is it both two and one? What's up?
Oh, we're just one gym. It's Yuma United Mixed Martial Arts. We offer jiu-jitsu as one of the martial arts that we offer, boxing, wrestling, a little bit of judo, and then some Muay Thai, as well as anybody else who might want to come in and coach and offer some sort of classes. We have things we're a smaller community, but we seem to offer a lot of certain different aspects. So the jiu-jitsu aspect, we are affiliated directly under Eddie Bravo, 10th Planet. We pay our dues, and we get belted through Brian Baumgartner, who is our jiu-jitsu coach, and up into the first couple blue belts, and then the purple belts are directly from Eddie Bravo. So he's come down and belted Kelvin, and
yeah. Actually, I think I saw that video on YouTube or something at some point. That's a damn honor. Eddie Bravo is one of the heroes of this show. He's actually inspired me to, at first the show didn't start off as a podcast. I was doing YouTube videos, and he was inspiring me to do those. And he was actually ghostwriting some of the earlier episodes.
Somebody I watched, my brother Chance Farrar, who actually owns the gym here and also is a WC veteran. He's one who wrote. Who got us all really into this scenario down here in Yuma. We call him the Godfather of Yuma MMA because not a lot of people know, but there's been 6 people fight under the Zuffa banner just from Yuma, Arizona. So,
yeah, who else has come out of Yuma? Efrain Escudero and Kelvin Gastelum won the Ultimate Fighter. Who else do we have that's actually
lived most of his childhood up here graduated through Kofa High School, was a 2-time state champ, defeated. We coached actually against him. He's a beast.
Wow. Cain Velasquez.
Edgar Garcia.
Nice.
He's one of our local guys who trains in the gym, and he's a UFC and WEC vet. And he still comes in the gym and kicks ass. And then we also have Aaron Simpson came out of here. He's from Antelope, which is a little bit over the mountains from Yuma, about 20 miles away. But we still claim him as our own.
Do you guys, I'm sure, I'm not actually sure what the size of Yuma, Arizona is, but do you guys have does Yuma United, do you have like a rival gym, like a rival dojo that you guys are always competing against? Like, does that exist?
We have a rival gym. There's another gym that's coached by Carlos Flores, but he's coming to our gym, and some of our guys have gone over there to get a little bit of different training. But when we do Desert Rage, which is the local promotion, when we do local fighters, that's normally what it is our gym versus theirs, to get people some experience before they get on the upper echelons up there. And so I wouldn't say that it's more of a rival, but
Yeah, I was just wondering.
At their gym.
I was just wondering if it's like a Karate Kid scenario where every now and then someone walks into your dojo and like challenges you being the coach.
There has been some challenges. Edgar Garcia got challenged once. A guy walked in and said he wanted to fight the toughest guy in the gym, and we set that up on a Desert Rage fight.
How'd that go?
Edgar won in 20 seconds, I believe.
Oh, 20 seconds, not bad for a gym challenger.
Yeah.
A 20-second dojo storm. How about that, folks? Now, Terrell, after seeing, Escudero become tough champion in the Nogueira versus Mir season of The Ultimate Fighter, did you expect to have another champ come out of there again? Like, what was it like when your next fighter, Kelvin, won?
I coached Efren directly after The Ultimate Fighter show. Okay. I ran the Cole Miller camp. I was cornering him, but that was more of a, people don't know that one between him and I. I've helped coach him since junior high and high school with an assistant. Pepe Moreno actually coached both Edgar, Efren, and Kelvin all at Cibola High School when I was an assistant coach there.
Okay.
So he's one of the mans behind the scene as well. But I helped him out, and when he was in college, he needed help for books, and I bought his books, and he told me he would either let me pay him, he'd either pay me back, or he'd let me corner him in his first UFC fight. And I told him, you know what? And that was 2 years before he ever fought.
Nice.
And I told him, you know what? I'm going to take the chance on the UFC fight because I know you're going to make it. And that's kind of how I was able to corner him in that fight. But then I ran the training camp for Cole Miller, Evan Dunham, and then helped run the training camp for the Lozon fight, and then he went over to the lab.
Oh, nice. Now, what is your main coaching discipline, if any? What's your area?
If I have a coaching discipline, it's just being a project manager, I would say. I'm a wrestling coach. I've coached wrestling for 10 years on a high school level, but there are badasses that have come out of this town that are much better than I am, who have won national titles and All-Americans, and so I can't really compete on a level of those guys. However, I just think that coaching is my forte. I feel I know how to coach, use the psychology of it, the game plan, to be able to watch video, to discuss and have the relationship with the boxing coach, to have the relationship with whatever the jiu-jitsu coach is, and have that little community where there's more than one coach at all times, but everybody kind of is comfortable with their role, and each fighter gets their independent study kind of or its focused training on each individual.
Right. Okay. Now I was Coach Jamie Huey. He told me that you would be a great guest, and I believe him. I take him at his word. And I did a little research. I tried to look you up a little bit. I have basically two sources of information. One of them is Kelvin Gastelum himself, who I was talking to earlier today.
I don't trust anything you said.
Well, we'll get to what he said. He gave me a little bit of info that was useful. Another source, though, that I just have to ask you about. I, of course, Googled your name. An article came up. I believe they misspelled your last name. But are you Terrell Hunsinger Jr. by any chance?
Correct. That is
okay.
Me.
Okay. The article I found, and I've never heard of anything like this in MMA. Were you apparently part of an MMA fight that involved two fighters versus two fighters, a 2-on-2 MMA match? Can you please tell us what that was all about? Because I have never heard of this shit before, man. What's the word on the street?
I plead the fifth. I don't want to discuss. That's embarrassing. Why would you find that?
Well, if you Google your name, it is literally the first thing that comes up.
None of my coaching stuff pops up. It has to be the 2-on-2 fight. Awesome.
It is the 2-on-2 fight. What can you tell us anything about it?
There's a little background on that. My brother, for some reason, the casino here also wanted some kind of, I wouldn't say a gimmick, but they wanted something new and innovative. So Chance came up with the 2-on-2 idea, and we found two people who would fight, and then we I was spending time as a matchmaker at that time, and so I was calling around and got some interest, and then people would back out. It was unique and hard to explain to the rules because we didn't know. We just kind of made them up on the go.
I was going to ask what the rules would be.
The rules were, okay, well, let's start with that. The rules are two people enter against two people, and it's the same MMA rules. you don't have to engage with just one-on-one. You could have engaged two-on-one, but then that leaves you susceptible, I guess it would be. So there was some strategy that goes on in it, but
is there
once one fighter gets submitted, or there was no time limit either. Once one fighter gets submitted or KO'd or gave up, then they stop give it a breather, and the other fighter had a chance to either quit or try to go for the bonus. And fight
bonus?
2-on-1. Yeah, so there was a $1,000 bonus that if he fought 2-on-1. And anyway, let's just say the crowd booed when he wanted to fight and continued, and we did do a little 2-on-1.
Wait, they booed because it was so unfair, or
yeah, because I think they thought it was unfair. I don't know, but the guy wanted to fight, so.
So the crowd obviously didn't know the rules, and they probably didn't even know about the bonus or something. Maybe.
No, they didn't have a clue. We thought that maybe if it ever happens in the future, that once somebody loses, and then the guy gets to choose who he wants to fight, and have the other guy wait outside and kind of have to work his way with guys.
Now, I've got a note. Are there two referees, or do they just not?
Two referees, and I guess from what I heard, it looked like just two fights going on at the same time.
I wonder if this thing's on video. I was gonna say, do they even bother with referees?
There is a video, and I refused to watch it. Absolutely refused, because the story behind it was I was going to law school and doing matchmaking, and we get it set up finally after 4 opponents pull out, and then they get some opponents that step up, and then the guy who was going to fight with my best friend as his partner, he got, I guess, a probation violation, and got picked up at weigh-ins. And we didn't find out until the day of the fight, at 1 o'clock that afternoon, that the fight was going to get canceled, and the casino really wanted that fight, from what my understanding was. And so I just manned up and said, I'll do it.
So one of the dudes crazy enough to get in a 2-on-2 fight.
It was important enough to my brother that I was like, you know what? I'll just step up and I'll do it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to think about it. I was backstage doing homework and reading through my law books. As I'm getting wrapped, I didn't think about anything. I just went in there and did what I had to do.
Oh my God! So you stepped in.
I never wanted to watch this since.
You stepped in on a 2-on-2 MMA fight because one of the dudes got arrested at the weigh-ins. That is ridiculous, man. But yes, another source.
It was 4 hours notice. I had 4-hour notice.
Oh God!
And he's doing his homework.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Kelvin actually mentioned
cornered
that.
me in that fight. Actually.
Oh, really? He was there?
And it was 2 days or something before he went for the Ultimate Fighter show.
Oh, nice. Huh. So Kelvin was actually there at the 2-on-2 ridiculous.
Yeah, Kelvin cornered the one and only 2-on-2 fight.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Oh, but yeah, he also, he gave me a little bit of information. You mentioned that you were studying. He did mention, that you apparently, studied law. You're a law school graduate, psychology degree. Am I getting this correct? Well, what is your educational background, sir?
Probably overeducated. I don't know. I excel at school, so anytime you're going to school, people tell you you're doing a good job, so it's a way to not have to have a job. So you just keep going to school, and then people are like, oh, way to go. As long as you're getting a degree, I guess. But no, I went and did my undergrad and when I was coaching, and then took some time off after my undergraduate. I have a CJ and criminal justice and psychology degree with a minor in philosophy. Huh. And then I was working on my master's in psychology. I'm a few classes short on that, just slowly taking my time, graduated law school, and I was in graduate law school working on my international human rights and federal Indian law LLM.
Holy shit.
And I'm only 9 credits short on that. So I'm just,
oh, man.
But the gym came calling, and his camp came calling, and my kids, I was away for 4 years, and my kids kind of needed me back in town, and I just kind of left some schooling behind and figured that I've accomplished enough in that realm until I get things back in order.
A law degree. Now I have to ask you, how legal was that 2-on-2 MMA fight? Really?
It was on a tribal reservation, so we're going to get complicated. And I would say you have to see a tribal attorney. That was supposed to be my area of specialty, though. So,
oh, excellent.
I believe that it was fairly legal since we didn't have to deal with any commission.
All right.
The commission wasn't none too happy.
All right. Now, when I heard from actually first Coach Jamie Huey, did he tell you the story about the 2-on-2 fight, or is this the first you're hearing about this nonsense?
Me and Terrell thrown back a few beers.
How'd you meet the guy?
Well, obviously through Kelvin. We Kelvin introduced us, obviously, coming off the show. I hit it off with Terrell. We went out and had a couple beers in Vegas, and we spent some time together talking. But I'm pretty sure I didn't have enough beers that I would have forgot a story like that if he had told me. So that's great, man. that is good. Hey, Rams, just props for you for digging that up, man. Terrell's probably going to figure out how to bury that into Google somehow. But
yeah,
that was.
Yeah, it's out there. If it helps, Terrell, they misspelled your last name, but I still found it.
You can always deny it.
Yeah, that is true.
Me.
Yeah, you can't. I was almost thinking maybe he's got like a son or something, because it said I don't know. But no, that's actually awesome. Now I want to see that video. I might even, if I find it, dude, I'm gonna add it to the.
I made fun of quite a bit for my striking, so Jamie, no making fun of me. If you see it, maybe you should work some minutes with me. I love that.
Hey, I'll be happy to, man. I'll get like 2 on my hands, 2 on my feet, just in case you have to fight 2 guys at the same time again.
Now that did trigger me to Kelvin and Jamie. They told me you were an educated man, so I did come up with a short segment here. I'd like to hit you with a few hypothetical legal situations in MMA.
Oh wow.
That's right. That's the name of this segment. Hypothetical legal situations in MMA. And for the people, I think that's too much for some people, so I'll just AKA it. This is the MMA lawyer shit segment. So we're just going to talk MMA lawyer shit and whatnot. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, Terrell. Hypothetical legal situations that might occur in mixed martial arts. Of course, obviously it varies.
Put me on the spot here.
No. I will say, obviously, laws vary from state to state, country to country. These are just general questions. For example, pre-fight and post-fight violence. Like when Anderson Silva was in a face-off with our hero, Chael Sonnen, at the weigh-ins, did you see where they were facing off and Anderson he struck him in the face with his shoulder. At that point, even though they're signed up to have a fight, does Chael have a case for physical assault?
I believe that Chael could make a legitimate case for a legal tort as well as a crime. And assault and battery is, they'll talk about assumption of the risk, and that's really what it comes down to. An assumption of the risk will boil down to whether or not the activity is common in the sport or the agreement taking place. So normally that type of behavior is not conducive conduct.
Yeah.
So there could be a case there that, I think that you would be considered an outcast in your in the MMA community if you're really going to file charges. But
yeah, but what if it was a total asshole?
I believe that he would have a case, and maybe.
Yeah, but what if it was like a total asshole and prick that everyone would just like post-fight violence? Like, okay, did you see the one where Paul Semtex Daly, he hit Koscheck?
Correct, but that's another one that would be, again, I think those acts can be liable, both criminal and tortious conduct. Yeah,
so I'm just saying, if you were Josh Koscheck in that situation, the biggest sucker punch in history happens, lands on you after the fight. You just being a lawyer, you wouldn't have to pay anybody. Would you sue Koscheck just to stick it in him, like, or you know?
Ask me if I would do such a thing? Absolutely not.
No. All right.
No, I went to law school, but I'm not one of those. I'm more of a. I like the theory and philosophy behind it all, and that's where I get into. And when it comes to utilizing your skills to make money and profit, that's really not. I don't know. I know it's a wrong choice, but that's not what I got into law for.
All right. Now another
understanding and the intricacies of how things work, mostly for my own personal encounters with law enforcement, or helping those who are less fortunate, or those who get violated on their Fourth Amendment rights. I'm a big-time libertarian. So my areas of law that I really want to focus on are, liberties and freedom for all people, and overcoming the abuses of the powers that be.
The man.
Yeah.
The man, dude.
And not to mention the world powers and the banking industries, but that's for later talks, I guess.
The New World Order, ever present, ever dominating, all ensuing into our lives constantly. Yes, that is a topic.
I am all into those things.
Yep.
And that's the reason why I got into law, is to help combat some of those things and make awareness and create scenarios in which we can make others aware of not only their rights, but what type of recourses we can to protect ourselves from such, I believe, heinous abuse of powers.
No, I agree. All big power has to be checked constantly, even by, that's why here in Austin, Texas, we have a man named Alex Jones representing that aspect of life for us here. And even though he is extreme, we do need that. We need that to push against the extreme prejudice that the government elements within the government are exercising on us. I am with you on that. On a smaller scale, though, the man is coming down on Eddie Alvarez. How about that MMA legal situation? Have you followed any of that? He basically, Bellator is claiming they can match any offer the UFC gives.
I have personal resentment towards Bellator, so I don't know if you really want me to. I think that's typical. They came here for a small-time organization, and they sued us, and then made it where I couldn't even come corner one of my guys, and it's just nonsense. Yeah,
oh.
They stole. We had our fight on a certain day, and then they were coming 3 weeks later. So then the casino that we normally had our fights at played politics and changed the date of the Bellator fight to be the same day as our fight. And they stole a fight from us, and then took a bunch of other, other fighters that were from our gym, and just kind of gouged the pricing so we couldn't afford to pay them, even though they were our own fighters. And then because I was, associated and related to Chance, I couldn't even come corner Edgar on his fight. I was asked not to. Chance, I saw the emails where he was asking him, hey, we did your matchmaking for you guys. We can work together. The town's big enough for both of us. You don't have to have your show on the same day as us. 3 weeks later, everybody can actually, profit and put on good fights.
Mm-hmm.
All he got was a cease and desist letter, and then sued. And then we had to pay $15,000 in legal bills. So the lawsuit dropped, and we still had our show, and we broke even. But that was kind of our dealings with Bellator. I don't think that they're that way with everybody all the time, but I refuse to acknowledge them.
It seems like there's a pattern emerging from the Bellator organization, and you would think that they would try to work with the smaller guys, the smaller organizations.
You would assume so. We actually did matchmaking for them, and through our gym, and we enjoyed our relationship when it was that route, and we felt that they got conned into the political thing between the two casinos, which are local rival tribes sometimes, and I think that they got caught up in that and allowed that to dictate how they handled us, which we felt was not only disrespectful but unnecessary. And so that's my viewpoint on that.
No, man,
we get all caught up into it and resue them, but it's just for what? For what purpose? We just move forward and we have our guys and we get them to fight. And
yeah, fortunately you can move forward, unlike Eddie Alvarez, who's locked down in this situation.
I think that's nonsense, because I'm waiting for the court decision on that, but I could completely agree that the contract needed to be matched verbatim, and no way they can match the pay-per-view.
Yep. And this question's always bothering. I'm sure there's a totally perfectly legal explanation for why Eddie Alvarez can't do this, but do you know why can't Eddie Alvarez just fake an injury, or every time he's gonna fight just take a knee on purpose until Bellator drops him? Why can't he just claim, I'm in a car accident, my arm's broke, and then I'm out for a year?
I don't know if he can't do that. I mean, it depends on the contract. But the thing is it creates its own reputation, as well as, they're going to play that hardball game and not give a crap. They don't give a crap whether Eddie succeeds or not. They only care about themselves, and they don't want him to go to the rival company, which is going to pay him more, and they're just going to play that game.
Yep.
It's unfortunate for Eddie Alvarez, and he'll never get these years back fighting the battle, but he's got to fight the battle for all other athletes. They're going to get caught in this. If Bellator remains quasi-successful and and it creates this type of opportunity for the fighters to go back and forth between these, then this type of legal decision needs to be rectified and handled for precedence, so the companies know how to handle it pressing forward.
Yeah, no, man, that poor fucking
So
guy.
it sucks Reddy to go through this, but I do believe he is fighting a fight for everybody, for all fighters, and I mean, when he goes down, I believe that this should be a landmark case in MMA, especially if it gets...
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I love the fact that he's being vocal about it too.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, well,
that kind of shows who it is. If your boss, is trying to keep you on when you don't want to work for him, it's letting you know, who they really are to begin with.
yeah, if it wasn't for him, like everyone would be like, "Oh, give Bellator a break." But no, now he's giving people the truth, and now people are taking a real second look at Bellator. That's great for him. I do have one more question about the 2-on-2 fight before I throw it to Jake. Was that your only MMA fight, or have you had other MMA fights?
That is my one and only MMA
Holy
fight.
shit. Wow. That is 1 in a million. Holy shit, man.
I think that counts as 2 fights.
Two fights.
I did get submission, so I mean, I feel good. I got it.
Did you guys even wonder how that would go down in the record? Like, does that count as two
We did not
wins?
send that into Sure Dog.
Do you get 6 cornermen?
It was unique.
Oh man! All right. Jake from the MMA podcast, my co-host here. You're on with Terrell. Is it Hunsinger?
Correct.
Okay, Terrell Hunsinger and of course Coach Jamie Huey. What's up, Jake?
Yeah, you actually covered a lot of things I was going to ask you about, so I'll keep it short and sweet. I just got a couple questions for you. Kelvin's obviously made news recently. He won the Ultimate Fighter at 185 pounds, and he's going to be moving down to welterweight. What do you think about that move, and how do you think he's going to fare against the elite welterweights in the UFC? Because, I mean, beating Uriah Hall, one would assume that he's not too far away from the top 15, top 20, top 10 of the welterweights in the UFC.
Oh, that's. I think I have firm belief in Kelvin and his abilities, and he believes in himself and his abilities, and the coaching staff around him, and the fact that we come in and we work hard, and that's really how I see it. Anything can happen. We watched, Chance fight Uriah Faber, and things didn't turn out our way, and Edgar came in and blitzed Hiromitsu Miura in about a minute and a half, and thought the sky's the limit, and Efren's beating Cole. So as a coach, I've had some of the roller coaster rides, and we see how things can go. But a lot of things in personal life, or the split decision by Brad Blackburn against Edgar. And so, I mean, anything can happen. He had upkicked by DeMarcus when he was beating DeMarcus pretty badly, and Edgar got caught with an upkick, fell into a triangle. So you never know what's going to happen in a fight. You just prepare, and I think that Kelvin's young. He's 21. He busts his ass. He believes in himself. He comes forward. He's pressured. He's working with the best people that he can find around. He's going to travel. The weight cut, is up to him. We strongly have told him that before, that he should make 170s even before the show. So that was kind of the plan before the show. We didn't really know when he would make that decision, but we definitely believe that decision should be his and left for him to decide. And we just go along with whatever he supports and give him the supporting staff around him to help him achieve whatever goals it is that he wants. I think that he's young enough and talented enough that why wouldn't he think about world championships? I mean, if you're not in it to be the best, then why are you in it?
Yeah, the guy's 21. Sorry?
And that's just, he's only 21 years old. And I believe wholeheartedly that the kid can do whatever he wants to do if he stays motivated and focused and get a little bit of luck on your side. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I think he's talented enough.
For sure, yeah. I was just going to say the guy's 21. The sky's the limit. He is one of the brightest. He is one of the brightest prospects in the UFC. My other question I was going to ask you was about Yuma United MMA. So are you the manager there? Are you a coach there? What's your position?
I have no clue. We're redefining that every day. No, we have a manager and that manages the gym and people that work behind the desk, and I come in and I run kids wrestling classes with Chance, and it's kind of how we started. Chance and I started as junior high wrestling coaches, and we coached high school together, and then he went off to Border Patrol, and I kept coaching, and he got into cage fighting, and then I came back. So it's kind of more of a brotherly thing that we've looked at. Oh, yeah, and as far as the 170-pounders, we have Edgar Garcia in here, and I still believe to this day that Edgar's still one of the top 15, if not top 10, talent-wise in the world, and Kelvin has that ability to go against Edgar on a regular basis, and until he can beat Edgar on a consistent basis, he has that bar that he can always gauge himself on. So and that's who he worked with. He was one of the kids when Edgar was training for the UFC. It was 16, and he'd come in, and there was, I think, the DeMarcus camp or the Blackburn camp that Kelvin was the main training partner as a 16, 17-year-old kid. So he's been pretty ready for a while, I think, like getting used to these types of things and knowing the moments and training hard. But as far as as me, sorry to go back to that, I just run the training camps and kids wrestling practice and maintain the relationships with the fighters and talk to the managers and try to get fights set up. And I don't believe that one person is smart enough and capable enough to do everything for all the fighters all the time. And I think that there needs to be coaches in all the disciplines, and there need to be certain people that get the sponsorships, to get the medicals done. And you just kind of I just kind of make sure I project manage that. And that's my role at the gym is dictating those types of things and then assisting as much as I possibly can. I'll call in the medicals, and I'll run practices. I make sure that Kelvin's where he needs to be, and if he's having if any of the fighters are having kind of personal problems, I have to know those types of things to help get them through those, and so we can keep them focused, talk to the other coaches, watch the video with them, go over game planning with them, remind the coach of the game plan so they don't deviate too much. I dictate I don't know, that's kind of a weird position, but that's what my role is here.
Yeah, my last question before I pass it off to Ramses.
Does that answer anything?
What? No, yeah. It did. You mention you coach both wrestling and mixed martial arts. What are the main differences there? And where do you see more injuries, in wrestling or in mixed martial arts?
Ooh. Good question. That's a hard one to quantify because there's less people that take part in mixed martial arts. But I think that there are more injuries that happen on a regular basis in wrestling. I would think that most of the injuries come in from Muay Thai and people, the kicking, when that starts getting in the shin guards, start moving all around and people kick their shins. Or I don't really see too much like major injuries, maybe some knee injuries I've seen from time to time in training, but I think there's more in wrestling because it's like full force, balls to the wall all the time. But I don't know. Again, define injury. Are we talking hurt or blood or like something that sets you out for a while?
Not just visceral things like cuts and blood, but yeah, like things that will keep you out.
More like actual injuries than
where
people are out on a lot longer. But I'd say that people get hurt more in wrestling. I guess that's
all right. It's interesting.
Hey, Coach Huey, that makes me want to ask you, what is the worst injury that you've ever seen in a gym or in a fight? Like, what's the worst that you've ever seen? I'm talking, have you ever seen anything like Kevin Ware style where the leg explodes in half? Or like, when someone tries to hold down Chael Sonnen and ends up splitting their damn foot apart? What's the worst injury you've ever seen?
Usually the majority of the injuries are stuff that basically goes unnoticed or you wouldn't really know unless the person, for instance, Zach Cummings was up here training for us for the Ultimate Fighter finale, and he was rolling with a guy Tyler in our gym, and he just kind of slipped on some sweat a little bit. He was on his knees. They were doing some submission wrestling, and he just kind of pulled his hamstring, and it was that easy. It was just. And it's not a great story, but I mean, really, that's typically the injuries are little minute stuff that happens that, all of a sudden you just tweak like Terrell was saying, you might throw a kick and you tweak your knee or something. I mean, I've seen guys ACL injuries and MCL injuries, and but as far as the worst injury I've ever seen, I don't know. I've seen guys knocked out, but I've never really seen anything like blood shooting across the room, or
Yeah.
I've seen some nasty knockouts in fights. Obviously, Uriah's spinning back kick, scared the hell out of all of us for Adam. But as far as injuries in the gym, typically, man, it's really not a great story. It's just simple things that end up putting guys out for a while.
Well, I guess it's good that you haven't seen anything gruesome, although it would have made for an awesome story on this podcast.
Well, usually it's the neurological stuff is really the most dangerous. I mean, bones heal, ribs heal, but it's the neurological stuff that is the stuff that's scary. I mean, I got dropped, man, when I was in my 20s. I was sparring with a guy, and I hit him with a nice right hand. I tell this story because it's a pretty good story. I hit a guy with a nice right hand, and he must have sidestepped me, and he threw a right hand. He caught me on the temple.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember getting hit, but I remember waking up, and the canvas of the boxing ring was it was blue. It was like a real deep blue. And I kind of remember coming up, and I was thinking I was like surrounded by water.
Oh no!
And so I've got my elbows, and I'm kind of rubbing the canvas, like, what the hell? Why isn't this wet? And then I notice I have boxing gloves on, and I start kind of looking around the gym, like, where the hell am I? I thought I was in water for some reason.
You know what?
I couldn't remember. I had bought a house, and I was getting ready to move in my house. So I was in between moving from my apartment that I was in into the house. I couldn't remember where I lived. I got halfway home, I pulled over, and I had to think about it. And I ended up driving to the apartment just to try to see if I saw my car or something there. Yeah, it was how bad it was, man. And it went away, and I was fine a couple days later probably, but there was a long period of time I really wasn't there. So those are the scary ones. It's the neurological stuff that doesn't show the damage that sometimes those are the ones you got to be aware of. And you definitely got to keep an eye on the people in your gym, because if they start to show signs of any of that stuff, you got to be on it.
Yeah, and that was just sparring. No, that is scary, man. Holy shit! Not remembering where you even fucking live. Let's talk about fighter safety for a second here. Every new topic, I'm just gonna claim it's a new radio show segment. All right, I'm doing new things here with the word on the street. This segment's called the coach's safety advice. All right, because we do have two coaches on, Coach Huey and Coach Hunsinger from Yuma United in Arizona. I'll ask you both, and also I'll get Jake's opinion as well, I guess. I don't know, whatever that's worth. Coach Huey, there's been a recent, the last UFC 159, we saw so many fucking eye pokes. It was ridiculous. Rogan screaming and yelling, saying there's got to be something done. Do you think anything can be done? Do you think eye pokes are accidental? Do you think there's a better glove solution? I'll ask you, and then Coach Terrell Hunsinger, and then Jake. But Coach Huey, do you see any solution to this eye pokes? Do you think it's all accidental? What's your take on this?
I don't know if there's a better glove. I mean, finger gloves, at what point does it start to get a little ridiculous? I think it's the ref's judge to be on top of that. Kind of thinking back when Mike Pierce fought Josh Koscheck. It was absolutely, the level of, it was ignorant on the sense that was able to happen as many times as it was. Mm-hmm. And Josh didn't lose a point for that. He had his hands open, and the referee gave him several warnings but never took a point. I don't know. I think the refs need to be on top of the open palms, especially if the guy's reaching out and he's kind of doing like that Anderson Silva perception of range thing. Mm. They got to be aware of their fingers, but a better glove, man, I don't know. Give the guy a warning if he does it, take a point. If that doesn't fix it, then it might just be one of those things that the ref needs to do a better job of being on top of.
Yeah. Coach Terrell Hunsinger, do you see any solution to stopping eye pokes? Is there a better glove or anything? I have a theory that, I don't think there is such a thing as an accidental eye poke 90% of the time. I think there's only two solutions here. Either you come up with a Mickey Mouse sized glove, just like Mickey Mouse wears, or you, if there is any eye poke, you make a rule. If you poke someone in the eye, you're immediately disqualified. You lose the fight. I think if that rule were in place in the UFC, we wouldn't see another eye poke for years. But Terrell Hunsinger, what's your take? You see anything coaching in the gyms, anything that can be done about eye pokes?
I definitely don't want an accidental eye poke to lose a fight for any of my guys. I don't know if I can go that harsh, just in case. But I do believe that most of it can be prevented by keeping your hand closed. I don't know, like make a fist, actually punch with a fist. But I do believe that Jamie hit a lot of the right points.
Is raking the face a tactic in MMA?
I don't teach it, or have seen any coach teach it. I mean, I think it's people understand what can or cannot be bothersome, or it's kind of lazy. You're putting your hand out there to protect yourself, and you push on a face. It is a fight. I don't think that it's an eye gouge or on purpose, but I do believe that if people focus on punching versus that Anderson Silva thing that he was talking about, where you keep your hands and you kind of distance yourself with your hands open, and that's the only technique where I think it's inadvertent. But I don't know what the solution may be. I really don't, because I really enjoy the aspect of grappling with your hands kind of free.
No, I hear you, and I do apologize to our audience. Several people did mention the name of a certain Brazilian. I usually try to catch that. We try to cut that out of the live feed, but the delay wasn't enough, people. You did hear his name, and I apologize for the mention of that Brazilian coward. Now, Jake from the MMA podcast. Sorry, guys. We have a dedicated audience here. You have to understand. Jake from the MMA podcast, the eye poking situation. Can anything be done about that? What do you think?
I think the coaches covered it pretty thoroughly. I mean, even if you put some sort of fabric over the fingers, it would probably be even worse. I mean, I would rather be poked in the eye by a bare finger than some super weird nylon glove thing or something that'll scratch the shit out of my cornea. And you've got to be able to manipulate your fingers to be able to grapple. So I'm not really sure if there's any other answer than just to train guys to not do it. Most guys don't, but you have guys like Josh Koscheck, a couple other guys who are known for a lot of pokes, and I don't think they're doing it in a malicious manner. But I think when they train and and they spar, they flash their fingers out a lot. We had Yao on last week, who is a training MMA amateur MMA fighter, and said pretty easily it's just an issue of guys flashing their fingers out when they spar, and then when they get in the cage, they keep doing the same thing. You just gotta teach the small 3 or 4% of guys who are doing that to cut it out, and I think bringing this much media attention to it, Dana's talking about it, Rogan's talking about it. I'm sure guys will be a little bit more cognizant of that in the gym.
Yeah, let's just take a point away, even if it's accidental. Let's just start doing it. Mandatory 1 point. You'd see a lot less of it, is my opinion. Anyway, let's oh wow, a new segment on the Word on the Street podcast here. This one is just MMA news in general. All right, guys. I'm not sure if any of you have heard the story. A follow-up on the Boston Bombers. Those cowards. One of them got run over by his own brother. Dude tried to kill himself or something. He survived. Now he's in a hospital. He's in jail. Whatever. Now, news story comes out, I believe yesterday. That's when I heard about it. The Boston Bombers. Just a little snippet here. In the wake of the marathon bombings, the Middlesex County Police began to probe a link between the elder bomber, his name was Sarnov or whatever, and Brendan Mess. Brendan Mess is one of 3 guys killed in a gruesome slaying on September 11th, 2011. This was the 10th anniversary of 9/11. Now they're saying one of the bombers killed this guy, Brendan Mess, who was his MMA coach, his boxing and martial arts coach. They're saying that these two bombers, or at least the one of them, killed 3 people on September 11th, 2 years ago, one of them being his MMA coach. Now, we do have 2 coaches on the line with us. Coach Huey, has anyone ever tried to kill you? It's a serious question.
Oh, sorry.
It's totally possible.
You know, I had my friend Amber Matthews threatened my life a couple times a day. Other than that, I don't believe I've ever been threatened. So, so no, I think I'm good, man. I don't that I can recollect.
All right. Oh, another interesting detail on the this murder. It was unsolved, but now they're thinking they've solved it. Of course, the 3 people that were killed, one of them being the MMA coach. Apparently, the killer, who they think was the Boston bomber, sprinkled marijuana all over the 3 dead bodies. Covered. I'm not making it up. He covered their dead bodies in marijuana. That was the one interesting note. It's been unsolved all these years. Terrell Hunsinger. You ever had someone come into the gym? Maybe they challenge you in your own dojo. You know, you kick their ass or whatever. And then they threaten your life or anything like that. You ever been in like a deadly street fight? What's the word on the street?
No, I'm a brainiac. I don't do all the street fighting stuff. I mean, we've grown up in this tough town, and we've had to do what we've had to do to protect ourselves. Nothing where I feel like my life's ever been in complete danger, I'd say. I mean, there's been scenarios where later it's kind of scary, but nothing where that's been too much of a concern where people are wasting weed and sprinkling it on dead bodies.
No kidding. That's what I can't piece together, and I am an amateur Sherlock Holmes myself.
I was like, why would they do that? That's the issue. But anyway.
No kidding, and we will. Actually, that does segue into our next topic. Yet another, this is MMA news again, a new segment on the Word on the Street podcast. Thank you. I just plugged my own shit. Yet another UFC marijuana victim. All right. We covered it a couple weeks ago. Now we have a new one. The last edition was Robbie Peralta. Got busted, failed the drug test. They fined him, suspended him. He's just another in the long line of lists, long line of people, fighters that have had their lives fucked with for lighting a plant on fire and breathing in the smoke that came out of it. Now, the newest one, of course, it just hit today. My man, Patrick Bam Bam Healy. He just had his UFC re-debut, won the damn fight against Miller. He got what was it? Some sort of, was it knockout of the night, submission of the night, fight of the
I think he got sub of the night, fight of the night, and his purse. I think he made upwards of $150,000 for that fight.
Yes, his total bonuses were $130,000.
Shazam!
And $30,000. And guess what? He apparently smoked the evil plant. He had an unfair advantage according to the athletic commission. So now that $137,000 is all gone. Fined by the UFC, taken his entire bonus, and on top of that, he is suspended 90 days, which, in the MMA world is not really a suspension. They basically took all of his damn money, and this was probably the biggest payday he's ever seen. One of his most well-earned, deserved victories against a UFC caliber fighter. He joins the likes of people that have been screwed, just to name some names: Matt Riddle, Robbie Peralta, Nick Diaz, Thiago Silva, Dave Herman, Brian Stan, Alex Bruce Lee Caceres. Now, I just want to ask the whole panel here, all the coaches and Jake, what's your take on marijuana being viewed as a performance-enhancing substance? And do you think Patrick Bam Bam Healy should have been fined his entire bonus purse of $130,000? Coach Huey, I mean, the law is the law according to the commission. But seriously, isn't this just a little ridiculous at this point? Do you think it's a performance-enhancing substance?
No, absolutely not. When I saw that, man, I felt bad. Pat's a friend. Pat's a local guy here from Portland. Pat's a, old school Team Quest guy. So yeah, to hear that, man, that really bummed me out. On one hand, the athletes do know what they're signing up for. Unfortunately, like it or not, if you do sign that contract, you know that it states on there that, what the rules are. But on the other hand, I mean, I don't support the rule. I think it's stupid. It doesn't, there's no performance enhancing anything about it. It's a medicine. It's legal here in Oregon. I mean, Pat very well could have his Oregon card. I don't really know Pat's business, but it is legal here as medicinal use here in the state of Oregon. It's legal in the state of Washington, which is probably 20 minutes from where I'm at right now. So, I don't like the rule, but nonetheless, I guess he did kind of know what the rule is. But yeah, I was absolutely bummed out to hear that for Pat.
Coach Terrell Hunsinger from Yuma United. What's your take on marijuana being viewed as a performance-enhancing substance? And do you think Patrick Puff Puff Give Healy Bam Bam should have been fined his entire bonus purse? What's up?
It's not my place, I guess, to make decisions for the UFC and their political stance. But I do wish that state athletic commissions as well as professional organizations can realize the medicinal aspects of it and realize that it is a choice and it doesn't give any performance enhancing, maybe more mental enhancing and psychological enhancing. I mean, if that gives you better performance, I guess you can argue. However, I think that if states have it as legal, I know the federal government has it as illegal and you run into that whole scenario, but the way that you make the federal government kind of stand up and recognize that they're fighting a war that cannot be won. It's a liberty issue that people should have the right to do, and the athletic commissions can realize that maybe if people do have at least a medicinal card in their state, that it should be recognized, especially if TRT it was recognized. If you have a doctor's note, you're able to use your TRT and do it in a certain way, then they should be able to recognize that as in marijuana. And the fact that they don't, they just continue to, in my opinion, enforce that negative propaganda on something they have absolutely no understanding about.
It's an embarrassment to me, and it is an outrage, I have to say. Jake from the MMA podcast, what's your take on marijuana as a performance-enhancing substance? And I believe you had a theory earlier that you hit me with on Twitter.
Yeah, first off, I just wanted to say I have a time machine in the garage. I'm almost done with it. And once I finish it, the first thing I'm going to do is go back, find this William Randolph Hearst guy who in the mid-1930s wanted to smear hemp, get hemp out of the system, and he did so pretty successfully. I'm going to bring him back. I'm going to find the same Indian reservation where those 2-on-2 fights went down, and I'm going to bring all the MMA fighters who've tested positive for weed and hurt from it. I'm going to get Healy. I'm going to get Silva. I'm going to get all of them. I'm going to get Nick Diaz and put on a 6-on-1 fight and let them all whoop his ass, because it's pretty insane that a smear campaign from the mid-1930s is continuing to mess up people's lives today. And the theory I was telling you about, I sent a few field guys out to places the UFC's been the last couple years, and I found out something pretty interesting from my field reporters. They pulled the rooms and reservations from all the fighter hotels from the UFC's the last couple years, and I found something very interesting, something that all these fighters, you were mentioning Diaz, Silva, Peralta, Healy, it turns out
Thiago Silva, Brian Stan, Bruce Lee Caceres.
The list goes on and on. It turns out something very shocking I found similar with every single one. All of them were booking a room one floor above Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo, and my theory is that them blazing out before the fight is causing all these fighters to test positive, and they should be given back their bonus money. They should be paid severance. I'm gonna look into this, and I'm gonna be filing a class action suit pretty soon. I'll probably hit you up with your law law skills, Terrell.
Holy piss. Keep us up to date, Jake. That does make sense to me. You know what? One of my life goals is to actually smoke and share a marijuana cigarette with Eddie Bravo. I'm not so full of myself as to think, I'll get some time with Joe. But Eddie Bravo is my man, and he would be the better conversation anyway. He is going to be on the show. I am working on it, actually.
One of the greater moments of my life was passing around a L with Mr. Ari Shaffir and Joey Coco Diaz after a show in Chicago. It was pretty incredible.
Nice.
I would say that Eddie Bravo, if I was to ever have done that or partake, I would definitely think Eddie Bravo would be on my list.
Yes.
In 10 Planet affiliate, if I were to be under that would be possible one day. I don't know.
Yeah, there is a rumor that to be a 10th Planet affiliate, there is some sort of initiation.
I don't think that's true. We got other people.
All right. I'm not saying anything. I'm not throwing around any accusations here, or whatever legal jargon you need. I'm just saying that I talked to Kelvin Gastelum, and that's all I'll say. Now, we'll move on to... Oh, wait. Still on the topic of the marijuana UFC victims, right? They are victims, all right?
I believe that they are.
Exactly. Yes. This is a law that just literally should not be there because it does not make sense.
I feel that, again, the state athletic commissions can follow their
state laws.
And on top of it, recognize the state laws of other states and be welcoming of those and recognize, instead of calling it a mockery or whatever it is, to me, I find that quite disappointing that other state commissions can't recognize that people do need things for medicinal purposes, and athletes are just the same as anybody else, and psychological and other situations are for medicine. They get medicine for all those types of things all the time, and there's a completely legal in certain states and completely readily available if it was made more legal and wouldn't cost anything. And if it works, why don't you let people try it?
No kidding, man.
And
yeah,
I don't know. It's bothersome to me that that these athletic commissions cannot, just take the stand. It just takes them, or takes one, to say, hey, we're going to see that this is okay, and at least move in that way. And then at least they can avoid the political aspect of whether or not it should be legal.
Yeah.
And not fine at all. But when it's made by a legal citizen of another state, I think that should be taken into consideration.
And it's just baffling to me, like, on a realistic standpoint, because these commissions, they know the scene. They know that, like, a lot of people in the MMA community smoke marijuana. And this doesn't make sense. Why would they not change the law when they know the reality of it? It's ridiculous.
It could be proactive, and it's gonna take one state to be proactive, and
I agree.
And they're going to need to just do it, and then if that happens, then maybe we can get that crap changed. But I don't know any other way of how they could do it. UFC just has to follow the fact that they're following, athletic commission rules. But then what happens when athletic commission rules start allowing it? Then, see if the policy stays the same.
Yep, and that's why on the Word on the Street podcast, you won't see this on UFC Tonight. You won't see this on Ariel Hawaii's show. We'll actually cover them and call them MMA, UFC, marijuana victims. That's the segment. We'll always keep it up. And I do just, guys, Jake, you're the fact checker on this show. You have to be a little sharper here, son. This is the 4th time that we've done the UFC marijuana victim report. And I've listed Brian Stan while I'm naming off names, and no one has ever questioned it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure there. I was like, I'm pretty sure Brian, I don't remember, but, yeah, so you were pulling that out of your ass.
You gotta keep me on my toes, man. But yes,
I was wondering, like, are you kidding me? I was gonna...
Oh, by the way, I'm choking on marijuana smoke right now. This is the Word on the Street podcast. Now, just a quick shout out before we move on here, to the godfather of course, MMA marijuana busts, Mr. Josh Rosenthal. Shut down running a multi-million-dollar organization there, just growing a natural plant. It is bullshit. We will be doing a live podcast radio stunt in the future where we're going to break him out of jail and get him on the show sometime soon. We're going to do this, people. It's going to be a real free Rosenthal moment. It's going to be on the Word on the Street podcast. He's innocent. All he did was, haven't you ever put a seed in the ground and then, you know, a beautiful flower comes up and you're like, that's great. Haven't you ever had a little garden or something? Maybe in high school science project, or maybe
Gardens are becoming illegal too. So
no kidding. They're trying to shut down everything. They're trying to make growing a plant illegal. And all this guy did was he grew a plant one day. He was like, oh, this is badass. I grew a plant. I created life. Now, why don't I just do this times 6 million? And so what's wrong with that, people? Free Josh Rosenthal. With that, we will end.
We're going to break out the stair car and break him out of prison.
That's right. We won't reveal the method. It'll just go down.
Am I an accomplice if this happens?
Well, I'm sure you can find a way to talk your way out of it, right?
Yeah, Terrell, I'm going to need some legal advice if you don't mind.
Yeah, like Jamie, are we accomplices when this happens?
I don't know. I've been quiet as I can, but I'm not really sure.
I'll clear it up by saying that this entire podcast and every fact mentioned on it is alleged. How's that, Terrell? Did I just cover my ass?
Everything is alleged.
Exactly.
I can neither confirm nor deny such allegations.
That's right. This entire podcast might be a work of fiction. In fact, how do you even know it's Coach Jamie on the phone right now? How do you even know?
This is true.
Somebody does a really good Coach Jamie laugh, if not.
That's right. It's an impression.
Oh, shit. Oh, speaking of Coach Jamie, Terrell, I hope you'll humor us for a little bit. We have one more stupid segment before we get to just a couple Twitter questions that came in, and then we'll end the show. But there is one more segment. It is Coach Huey. He's going to turn the tables real quick. Hopefully this is really quick and painless. Coach Huey has a couple questions for me. I've always, he's been on the show co-hosting. At first he was a guest. And so I've asked him a million questions, and this time he is actually going to take the time to ask me a few questions. For all he knows, I'm just some crazy psycho on the internet. I might be showing up to his dojo soon, challenging him. You never know. So Coach Huey, you're on with me. Fire away. What's up, dude?
Well, I had a couple questions that we got from Twitter. I guess, first of all, people want to know what your age, what city you live in, and how did you come up with the name of the podcast?
Damn, I didn't even think about the age question coming up. All right, guys. Shit.
I'm 13.
Hopefully. What lie can I get away with? No. Oh, God. This is a bad one. This is
I do know the truth, so if you lie, I'm going to be kind of sitting back like, all right.
All right, the truth is, guys, and this is a rough one and why I even hesitated, because I did just turn 30 fucking years old.
Dun, dun.
In December, I turned 30, which is like a big one, man. I know at least 2 people on the interview have been through 30, I'm guessing. But Jake hasn't. You're probably the youngest fool on here, right, Jake?
I think so.
Come on, give it up.
I'm 23, going to be 24 this summer, living in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, holy shit.
In case anybody was curious.
Enjoy it, man. You kissed a girl yet, Jake?
I'm working to it.
All right, yeah.
I will say when I turned 30 is when I officially felt old. So I know what you're going through.
Yeah, man, I do feel it definitely.
You're no longer young at 30.
Yep, it's all over basically. It's not going to get better. I'm not kidding myself. It's not going to get better. My health isn't going to improve. But 30 years old, straight out of the mean streets of Austin, Texas, representing. And the podcast started because if you guys ever have time, you're smoking weed, you're just taking it easy at home, you get on YouTube, people. You get on YouTube and you type in Joey Karate. Just type in Joey Karate. You'll see video episodes that'll blow your mind. It's Uncle Joey Diaz, one of the greatest comedians of all time. Filming, holding the camera, writing some of the material is Eddie Bravo. Just look up Joey Karate on YouTube. That inspired me to start my own YouTube videos, which led to me starting the Word on the Street podcast. It's supposed to be ridiculous, but we actually ended up hooking up with a serious player and coach here, Jamie Huey. So that led to some real interviews in an actual real show, which you are listening to right now. So Jamie, you're actually part of the answer there. That's how it got started.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but I was looking at your YouTube channel earlier, which I encourage everybody to get on YouTube. Go to We're on the Street podcast. Go into username and like the show. Become a subscriber. Congratulations, man! You were at over 49,000 views for your some of the stuff that you've contributed to your YouTube channel. So,
Jesus,
hats off to you for that, man. 49,000 something views. That's quite an accomplishment.
I'll brag a little bit. I actually have 3 YouTube channels. All right, 3 YouTube channels.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Okay.
One of them alone, which is the problem with my shit is it has no name, it's all over the place. But one of my videos alone, I put together, and I'll just brag real quick. You guys got to look it up on YouTube. It's I put together a Chael Sonnen must fight John Jones promo video, which at this moment, last time I checked, well, the fight happened. We got the fight. The video was a successful campaign, although I don't take full credit for it, obviously. But the video alone now has over 350,000 views. So across the channels, on all 3 channels, I think I have a little bit more than 40,000, and it's all because people smoke weed and like watching ridiculous nonsense on YouTube. Just check out my videos if you haven't, especially you, Terrell. Just look it up, right? It's not all MMA straightforward interviews.
I've actually listened to some of your podcasts before.
Okay.
I actually watched the one with Uriah Hall, so you actually gave me some video to watch.
Oh yeah.
So it's nice.
Yeah, we try to do the video element over the top of the interviews. And over this one, dude, I told you, if I can find the 2-on-2 MMA fight, it's going on.
Do that. No.
Well, hopefully I won't find it. I don't know. I've never searched. Yeah, Coach, you got anything else?
No, man. I guess the last question, I had several girls on here. Many of them wanted to know who was the official Dark Side water girl. I'm not going there, man. I'm not starting a Twitter beef with 7 different chicks on Twitter. I'm a little smarter than that. But that was a question for Ash, so maybe first come, first serve for her. But the second question, and there were several girls asking, is there a special female in your life, Ramses?
I've got nothing. I don't believe in them. I think they're a great evil. I don't think they could help my life in any way whatsoever right now. I want to do my own thing, man. Like I understand how being 30 and single, like that's not necessarily a bad spot right now. I can get married when I'm 40 if I need to.
You're wise beyond your years, my friend.
That's what I'm saying. Good question though. No women. I'm not falling for that shit anytime soon. That's my short answer. I'm not falling for it anymore. But along those lines though, I am gonna go on the Dolce diet soon, and I wanted to ask both the coaches for any diet tips here. Because look, my brother is I got an older brother here, 2 years older. He's getting married in October this year. So I got to go to this damn wedding, but I got to lose some weight. I got to tell you people, it's ridiculous. I've had a fucked up knee. So my shit's all, yeah, I've gained some weight. What's up, Coach?
No, my advice, man, is definitely get on that Dolce diet stuff. I mean, in all seriousness, Mike is, successful people, we kind of joke about the relationship thing and everything, but, and we even touched on this earlier with the Kevin Gastelum conversation. Certain people that are very successful surround themselves around good people. And that was always, we talk about Mike and his diet, I got to be honest with you, man. Mike is one of those guys that has really influenced me, in a big way. Not only is he everything he lives up to say. If you listen to his podcast, you kind of can listen to how him and Brandy work together as a team, and that's always been something, listening to those podcasts that has always kind of stood out to me. So, as far as the diet thing goes, absolutely get on that Dolce diet. But, Mike's really a role model for a lot of people as well. And then even rewinding a little bit farther in the podcast when we were talking about Kelvin, his girlfriend, Shawnee, is solid, man. And that's really a reason why I'm excited for Kelvin and to see what he does in the future, because, his mom and his sister and Shawnee and Terrell and Chase and all the guys down there from Yuma that I got to hang out with and successful people surround themselves around good people. And so, kind of jumping from one topic to the other, you can kind of see that that's what these guys are doing, and that's why they're successful. So, I definitely want to give them a shout out. But as far as the diet thing goes, Mike likes to say, if it didn't exist 200 years ago, maybe you should think about if you want to eat it today. And just living clean, man. I mean, I've been trying my hardest. I definitely have cheat days, but I'm sorry, Mike will kill me if he hears me say that. I have earned meals, but that's definitely that's the best advice I would give you is follow successful people, and Mr. Mike Dolce is that guy. So that would be that'd be where I'd be pointing you to.
All right, Coach Terrell. Are you actively dieting? Are you training that hard? Have you ever done the Dolce diet? What's any recommendations? I got to lose weight for this damn wedding, dude.
I did not do the Dolce diet, but I do believe in it. I'm a little bit of a picky guy, and I'm on a budget, so I got to do with things some certain way. So I just lost 80 pounds over the last 7 months, or over a 7-month period last year.
What?
So I gained weight in law school and decided that it was time to lose it, and just so.
Okay, I want to. What is this diet then? You gotta help me out here.
I don't have any money. I can't eat, and I'm just going to exercise anyway. Diet.
The Rampage diet.
Yeah, I was. I did a lot of cayenne pepper and just ate a lot of ramen soup. I don't know, but I walked and I was active, and that's what helped me get back into rolling and doing jiu-jitsu and get back in shape. But I do strongly believe in the Dolce diet, because I will say that even though I lost weight, the health aspect of it, my strength and all those things, it could have been better if I actually ate healthier. Yeah. And I recognize that as I exercise, and I like sugar, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm screwed.
I like a lot of cereal, and it's my favorite meal. Going to that much schooling, you eat a lot of cereal, so But I honestly do believe. I met Mike Dolce. He's an awesome guy, and guy is shredded. He's a pretty buff dude. He follows his own diet, and I talked to him. He knows his stuff, and I definitely trust in Kelvin. I watched Kelvin do the diet, and I strongly recommend it if you can do it and be committed. I'd say there's a lot of things with diet and losing weight is. There are a lot of people who have lost weight from a lot of certain ways, and you just got to find the one that works for you and make sure you maintain your health. And I think that after I talked to Dolce, he was telling me that his method, like he can work with your diet and he can work with what you eat and your food preferences and stuff like that. And he was actually going. I asked him to help develop me a diet to get into shape myself. So
yeah, well,
I strongly recommend it.
Yeah, I ordered the book. That's why I haven't started the Dolce diet yet. I ordered the book. I'm waiting for it. And I also ordered a large Dolce diet t-shirt, which I won't wear it until I can actually fit in it and look good, That is the goal here. And if the diet does work, I will post a pic of me in the damn shirt, and I will support him then. But I'm skeptical. I'm on the damn fence.
It's not skeptical. You gotta be. I bet you could do it. You just gotta want it.
Yeah, gotta be disciplined.
November. What do you got for November?
October. Yeah.
October.
5 months about there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Drink a lot of water.
Yeah,
you gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, that was one thing Mike pushed on the show. Lots of water.
Oh, damn. Because right now, I got to tell you, and it's funny you guys should mention that. Right now, I just got done swallowing some Fruit Punch Powerade. Powerade, people. We don't have any sponsors on this podcast, but I am drinking Powerade because I heard that John Jones had a meeting with Gatorade. So don't drink Gatorade, drink Powerade.
You can't hate on Gatorade too much. I just graduated from the University of Florida, where it's from, so...
They stink, man. They stink.
I actually was going to add, just a couple weeks ago, I sort of changed up my diet a little bit. I've been working out a bunch since the new year, but the results weren't coming as quick as I wanted, so I cut a couple things out of the diet. I've been eating a shitload of chicken and quinoa and kale. Kale isn't bad if you put a bunch of good vegetables in with it, like cucumbers, onions, garlic, all that shit. But my tip was it actually made a big difference. Just don't eat like 3-4 hours before you go to bed, and that'll help your metabolism and whatnot.
Damn, that's gonna be hard. I smoke before going to bed, people. I'm not gonna lie. That's a problem here that I have to overcome in this whole diet thing.
Hey, it can be done.
Obviously, or I hope so. But, we do, okay, alright, the Twitter mailbag before we end this podcast. I do thank each and every one of you for being on the show.
You skipping my new segment, son?
Oh, holy shit, I forgot.
What's going on, son?
I'm sorry. I get ahead of myself here. No, that gives me a perfect opportunity to have one more puff. Jake, you do have a new segment here on the Word on the Street podcast. He's gonna break it down for you folks. You're gonna be blown away. I have no idea what this is, but Jake, go ahead and take it away.
Yo, I am starting a brand new segment. It's called Jake's Takes. It's a pretty corny name, but I am going to be talking about who to bet on and who to avoid this weekend at the UFC. But because this is the first one, I got to give you a little bit of a background. I'm going to go back to February 6, 2010. Chael Sonnen was fighting Nate Marquardt, and this actually is a true story. Last time I ever put real money on sports, Nate Marquardt was one of my favorite fighters, and I hate to say it, but I put $50 on Nate the Great. I thought he was going to beat Sonnen. I was a huge fan, and my life changed in two ways for the better that night. The first way, I realized MMA and sports is just not something predictable enough to bet on, so I was like, screw this, I'm done. And the other one, a lot of people would have been mad at Chael because he wrestled the shit out of Nate, but I actually turned into a big fan of his because his wrestling was stellar. So he bettered my life in two ways. He got me to stop betting on these bullshit sports, and I became a big fan. So that is the background to Jake's Takes. Do not do anything illegal, but if you were to be betting on the fights, here are a few things to look at and to avoid. The first thing I'm looking at is Vitor Belfort versus Luke Rockhold. I like Rockhold a lot. He is the favorite in this fight by a little bit, but Vitor Belfort, he's on TRT, people. He is juiced to the gills. It's going to be in Brazil where they let him take all the TRT they want. His T to E ratio is going to be 3,000 to 1. Vitor Belfort, the underdog. I like him a lot. The other one I'm looking at, Jacare Souza against Chris Camozzi. Chris is one of my favorite people in MMA, really young. He definitely has a bright career, but Jacare is something else. He knocked out Derek Brunson in the first round. He's got wicked stand-up, and his ground game is probably the sickest, if not one of the sickest, as far as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu goes in the UFC. So even though he is a huge favorite, you're not going to make a lot, but, you'll make a little bit. The rest of these fights, I don't know, a lot of shaky lines. Maybe Nick Lentz against Hakron Diaz. Lentz has always seemed like a monster. But other than that, that was the first edition of Jake's Takes. Ramses, it's all you.
Holy shit, Jake's Takes. A groundbreaking segment. A very unoriginal name, sir.
It is the most.
How long did that take you? How long did that take you?
I started thinking about what I was going to name it about 8 minutes ago. And first it was going to be Jake's Picks, and then I was like, what rhymes with Jake? Steak, snake, take, Jake's Takes.
I'm sorry to pull back curtain. I'm sorry, man. It had to be done. Now, okay, we'll have, like I said, more segments on the show from going forward. Obviously, it's a outstanding success. Now, before we wrap it up, we just have just two quick Twitter questions that came in for Coach Terrell Hunsinger. Thank you again for coming on. These questions are from AMS on Twitter, AMS_Darkside on Twitter. She wanted to know, just basically, she's a huge Kelvin fan, by the way. So she wanted to know, is there any is there any added fame? How are you handling the fame now that you've got another winning Ultimate Fighter at your gym? Have there been any changes, more people signing up, coming around, and what are the future plans in general for Yuma United?
Well, no fame for me. I try to stay behind the scenes. I think more people just wonder how I'm even in the corner because they don't really know what I do.
Yeah.
Like people that aren't really. It's a small town, and I just coach, and that's kind of what I do. I just take care of my kids, and I come to the gym, so I don't really go out or anything. So as far as that goes, but the gym has definitely increased. But since Kelvin has won, I think he's brought a little pride, and the team has really been united, and the gym kind of has a really nice positive atmosphere, and people just come in, and we've been building our kids programs and just trying to train all aspects so when the kids are ready, and we're trying to get our lower level guys who are training and try to get them fights just like any other gym would, and try to just keep things going.
Yeah.
On all areas, no matter where the fighter is at their life, whether they're a beginner, whether they're a journeyman, whether they're there, whether they're on the verge of making it back, whether they're on the verge of retirement and transitioning to coaching, whatever it is, we're trying to make our gym readily available. We got a lot of tough guys that are in this gym, and we can see a lot of things coming out. We got, we just have the same momentum we've always had, or same motto, I guess, that we've always had, and we just keep moving forward and training to get to where we can get and see what happens.
Excellent.
We never stop doubting along the way, I guess.
Awesome. And yes, he is coaching out of Yuma United in Arizona, also AKA a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu branded gym. That was awesome. That tells me all I need to know. You are a friend of this podcast. And I do thank you for coming on, Terrell. Oh, by the way, you can reach Terrell on Twitter now, by the way. Just follow him you don't have to spell his whole name out. It's just Terrell Huns. Just follow him on Twitter at TERRHUNS. That is at TERRHUNS. Terrell Hunsinger. Thank you so much for coming on. Coach Jamie Huey, where can people get a hold of you? What's going on with your gym?
One MMA, www.onemma.com. My webpage, CoachJamieHuey.com, Twitter @CoachJamieHuey.com, and my email is on my Twitter. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, I'm available for seminars, coaching. I've got a lot more time on my hands than I used to. I just started a new job working for a company called The Search Doctors, and we run Google Ads, social media, internet marketing. So we're definitely going to be partnering, obviously, with the podcast and a whole bunch of other things. So if you've got something for sale out there and you want to sell more of it, get a hold of us, and we can definitely get you seen. And you can catch us every Tuesday on this podcast, and with Jake and Ramses and myself, and obviously enjoy doing it, man. Hope we can really grow this thing. And congratulations. I heard there's a rumor that they can actually find this another medium they're able to get this to. Is that true, Ramses?
Yes, sir, Coach. Thank you very much for reminding me. I've been trying to remind myself throughout this whole time to bring it up. The Word on the Street podcast as of today is on iTunes. Go to the iTunes store and just search Word on the Street podcast, and we will magically now be the first choice you see. I have 2 episodes up there right now just testing it out, but I'm about to load everything on there that we've ever done. It is going to iTunes. We are expanding now. Only big things are coming. We will do another show on Thursday night. Hopefully the coach will be there for us. Hopefully you'll be there, Jake. But speaking of Jake, before we just sign off, where can people contact you, Jake, from the MMA Podcast?
Real simple. Just visit themmapodcast.com or follow us on Twitter at themmapodcast.
Excellent. We had one more question for Terrell Hunsinger that just came in via Twitter before we sign off here. It is from Christopher Lowenstein, a good friend of the show. He makes magic happen. His
on and
Twitter,
off the court.
Yeah, his Twitter picture is, I believe, of Shogun Hua. He has a question for you, Coach Terrell, before we just end this and wrap it up. His question is, I would like to know if Coach Terrell is a spirits guy or if he just drinks anything. So what's up, Coach?
Oh, I actually do not drink anymore, so anybody knows that. But when I did drink, I guess it was whiskey. Would be, but I don't know. I don't like taste of beer. I like wine coolers. I'm a weird dude. But I don't know. I have found other areas to, I guess I take part in. I don't know.
I hear you, man. It's all about expanding the mind. How about that, people? And with that, we will sign off on the Word on the Street podcast. Hey, 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 I will say, smoke weed every day. It is May 15th, the year 2000 in jail. Thank you, Jake, Coach Jamie, the living legend Huey, and Coach Terrell Hunsinger for being on. This will wrap up the podcast and the conference call. I'll see you guys on Twitter. Thank you so much, and good night.